how to knit mittens. A very simple, easy tutorial that you can learn how to knit mittens. And you can see how we're no longer going straight up. We're starting to get smaller as we are rounding it. Okay, now I don't really want it to get any taller because I am at the height that I want to be. So I want to work on finishing it off. So now what I'm going to do, I still have a lot of stitches, 22 stitches left, and I want to reduce that a lot more because I don't want to keep going up too high because I think my mitten's long enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing every 2 stitches, and I'm just going to reduce it. This is going to reduce it a lot more. So each time I'm going to pick up 2 stitches. That's going to cut our stitches in half. How many stitches there now? It's 6 stitches. Do the same thing on this side. Every 2 stitches we pick up at the same time. Okay. It's rounding out nicely. And I'm going to just keep doing the same thing. I'm going to get it smaller and smaller. So I want to, right now we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, we have 12 stitches. We want that to be even smaller. So I'm going to continue doing 2 stitches at a time. I've only got 3 on this side. So on this side, do 2 together. Continuing to knit. And 2. And 2. And I don't want a point on the end of my mitten. I know I've seen some people make mittens and they have a point at the end, and I just don't like that. Okay, I'm down to 6 stitches. To finish it off, I am going to cut my thread, and then I'm going to pull out a needle. No, a crochet hook. What I want to do is I'm going to pull this thread through all of my stitches so I can just kind of gather them. So my thread is here, and I want it to kind of go around. So what I'm going to do is take these stitches on this side, and I'm going to transfer them over to a crochet hook. They're on this crochet hook, and now I'm just going to pull this thread through each of those loops. I don't know if this is how other people finish off their mittens, but it's how I do mine. Okay, and then I'm going to hook these 3. And then we put this needle, come on, through each one of those loops. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just gathering them. Pull the thread all the way through. Okay, and then I'm going to get out my needle threader and a needle. It doesn't have to be a plastic needle, but I do use a plastic needle. You can get a metal one that's got a big hole in it. And because it's hard to thread the needle, I use this needle threader. Put the thread through, and now it's threaded. And I want to turn the mitten inside out because I want to bring this to the inside, and I just want to secure the end. I think I got it in there. I just want to turn the mitten inside out. I just want to make sure that this is secure. I'm just going to take a couple of stitches. I also want to make a knot here. And I don't want to just have one knot, so I want to just make a couple of stitches to make sure we got a good closing end here. I'm going to make one more knot. I just worry about just having a single knot because I worry about it coming undone, so I like to have more than one knot so I can be sure. And you do want to cut this thread. You don't want to leave it too long. I've seen horror stories of loose threads inside socks getting tangled around toes and in socks. Okay, so that is got a good shape to it. It's nice and round. It's not pointed. You know, it's kind of the shape of the fingers. Now we're going to come back. We're going to do a thumb hole. We have 6 stitches on here. I'm going to bring this loop in here. Then I'll put it on the needle. Okay, now, so I'm just going to do it this way. 1, no, not 4, I want 6. 2, 3, 'Split the thread there. Do that again. 4, 5, 6. And it looks like there's too much of a gap there. I think I'm going to grab one more. Don't want there to be a gap. Okay, so I picked up 7 stitches. I have 6 stitches there, and I have 7 stitches there. And I want to transfer this back onto a regular needle. Okay, but it's a whole lot easier to do it in a circle. So I want to grab another needle, and I think I'll take 2 off this side. And grab these two so that I can have something like a circle. So now this is our thumb hole, and we're going to use 3 needles. This is where our thread is, so this is where we begin. Okay, I use a 4th needle and we begin knitting our thumb. There we go. Just like we knitted the mitten, we're just knitting the thumb. I'm just going to go around and circle. Now this needle is available. Sorry for that. It's getting late at night and my voice is getting rough. I was not able to work on this the whole day because I had other things I had to do, so I had to take a break. But really, if I could just sit down and work on it, it would probably only take me just a few hours to make a pair of mittens, especially children's mittens. With infant mittens, I don't put a thumb in it. And of course I start off with smaller amount. But yeah, this is a project you can get done in a day. Probably you could do it in the evening. And I mean, you can do whatever color threads. You can do solid color. You can add stripes if you want, but it's kind of fun to just work with a variegated yarn, and it makes whatever pattern it makes. I know they're not exactly the same, but the stripes wind up in different places, but that's okay. Sometimes you lose track of where you are. Just gotta check where's that thread so you know where you're working. And we're just gonna keep doing this. I'm not gonna reduce anything until we get to the end of the length of the thumb. Okay, my thumb is long enough, so now I need to start reducing it. So I'm going to start stitching, joining 2. I'm going to start reducing by stitching 2 together. I don't think I need to have 3 needles anymore, so I'm just going to go ahead and work this onto this side, so I'm going to put this on the other needle. Pick up 2 stitches at a time. Knit 2 stitches. Whoops. Sometimes it's hard to fit needle in. It's kind of tight. So now I am down to 6 stitches, and I'm going to finish it off the way I did the top. I'm going to cut my thread. I cut it a little longer than I think I need it. And I get out my little, actually, I could either do it with a needle or a crochet hook. The thread is here, so I want to bring the thread through those and then this way. So I'm going to pick this up with the crochet hook. Just transfer these loops there. And then I'm going to pull this through each of those loops. Pull all the way through. I want to go around that way, so come at it from this side, transfer these 3 loops, and then we bring that string through. Sometimes pull it through those 3, pull all the way through. There's not a knot on it, but I'm going to put the knot on the inside. There's my needle threader. And I'm going to turn this inside out. But first I want to make sure my needle is right down in the middle. And the reason I want to turn it inside out is I want to make sure I don't catch this anywhere else. Pull that through. I'm going to take a couple of stitches at the end of the thumb. Just to make sure we're all pulled together here. Good. Let's make a loop so that we have a knot. Okay. Let's see that. And we have our thumb, and it has a nice rounded tip. And I've got a good shape there. So now we have a pair of toddler mittens. One thing I like to do is crochet a long chain from one to the other so that it can go up the sleeve, through the coat, and out the other sleeve, and that way they don't lose their mittens, and if they fall off they'll still be attached. So that's how you make a pair of mittens. Pretty easy and lots of fun. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.